What's up? What's up? Okay. Today I'm just gonna yap. This is nothing like I don't have a script, no nothing, right? But I do know how to play this weapon since I'm the best player in the West with this weapon. The only other good one is like Red Rum, and he switched to pencil instead of playing the weapon, so there's literally no one else playing it. Like it's kind of crazy. Um, but yeah, a lot of people think like why should I play Bamboo when you have Pencil? And that's like a good question that I ask myself as well, because Pencil's just like way stronger if you define Bamboo as a backline and Pencil as a backline. Both, of course, I mean, especially Pencil as a support backline. But I think that's like the first problem a lot of people do make when thinking about Bamboo as a weapon. Because Bamboo's way more relatable to, I guess, other midlines like Pro, for example, or even S Blast, even though you can't play around the slope as much as you can with S Blast, but it's still like spacing wise, especially in the long range fire mode, you can quite compare these two weapons. So, why should you play Bamboo? And especially, like, what should you do with this weapon? And I think the first thing you have to realize is that movement is your best friend. Like you have to abuse the movement on this weapon and properly space people. That's why like my main build on this weapon is actually with opening game. Don't copy this gear. I should put some like sub defensive stuff in there. But like you get the gist of it. So why should you play this weapon? And what's like the best case scenario? Okay, so the first thing you can do with this weapon, and you should kind of do that with every weapon, is that you play it to the optimal range. The optimal range is always like around this range, right? So it does have long range compared to like other midlines or like Slayers, of course. But compared to any charger, especially Lita or Pencil, it doesn't really have much range, right? So like this is the best you can do with spacing. So against any Slayer, the thing you're gonna try to do, if they push you, you're gonna try to go backwards and just space them out, just keep shooting. And since you have like full range, or even when tap shotting, you can really, like even if you have bad aim, which I don't, but if you do, you can even just like keep spacing people out, keep walking backwards while they push you. And that's how most people play this weapon. The few mains that we do have in the West. And it's not per se wrong, and most situations you have to use it. But I think a lot of people underestimate how you can also use this pressure to walk people down, literally. Like, if you see someone here, and he's trying to walk away, or is preoccupied with another fight, right? Or, for example, a pencil who's just, like, looking around, and especially with pencils, because you don't have that range advantage, and that's the kind of problem where like a lot of Bamboo players, or like mid-level players, low-level Bamboo players, they're getting scared. They're gonna try to play behind cover and whatever. And if your team is down, you don't have any resources or whatever, you're not cooler, then that can be a right way to play, especially if you play with the other kit, not the vanilla Bamboo kit, where you have a fizzy, of course you should like throw it in the direction where they are at, but I don't think that's how you're supposed to play the weapon. And since if you always do that, and there are times when you have to do it, but if you always do that, you're gonna give them so much value, and especially space. And it just means at this point, why do you even play that weapon? Because if you're just gonna let yourself get like locked out the whole game, and there are like times in the game where you have to do it, like I said, you're getting like no value, and they get like a lot of value out of their weapon, right? So especially when you're not the main person being watched, or if you have bullet, I think as a Bamboo you should always realize that your range and your pushing ability with that range, especially if you play a movement kit, which you should do, I think, you can try to really try to punish pencils that aren't really aware. Sometimes even flank, but that's like an occasional thing. So especially with like a combo with the fizzy. You don't even have to throw the full fizzy if you want to just catch someone off guard. Like throw the fizzy on his head, and then of course you should throw the fizzy on the head and not like, God, bro, I'm should throw it on. And now I'm missing my other shot. Okay, but you can quite still quite punish people for being unaware, and that's kind of what this weapon does. It punishes people and it spaces people out. So you have two main mechanics on how to play this weapon. The first one, space people out. They're trying to push you. For example, I think a good example of where you can do that is on the far right or the far left on not any specific map, but like most maps, where you can just like keep going back into like a corner and people try to push you because they think, oh, he's isolated, he's alone in this corner. And that's kind of where they make a mistake, because Bamboo likes people coming at it, right? So if you have like a stamper pushing you, a shot or whatever, right? And you just keep going backwards until you're like at the end of the map like this, right? And then you can just get pretty much at least a trade, or sometimes even get like 2 or 3. And if you have support of your mates, which is kind of what Bamboo's dependent, because it's a 2-shot charger, and if you combo it with a splash, which is like the best combo weapon for it, it gets a lot of chip damage from the main weapon, from the burst bomb, and from the grab tank. So you have to abuse it, and kind of like try to not play it like a backline. Try to play it more like a midline, even like as a slayer sometimes, especially when practicing. Because this weapon is kind of like mechanics dependent. That's also what makes the oh my god. I say it and then I miss everything. Okay, that's fire. But you can play as aggro as your mechanics allow you to play. So you should like play around with it, try different stuff, and just keep on poking people, keep ego fighting people, especially like at the lower ranks where it doesn't really matter, or like in open, serious. Not an X rank. X rank you should play a bit more serious and try your spacing well. But try to find just how aggressive you can be. That's something I think Ray also said. Was like the best player in Europe right now. I think in general in the West at the moment. That you should try to play as aggressive as possible, and then kind of like tone it down a bit like afterwards. So try to play as aggro, try to peek everything, try to fight everything. And then when you realize, okay, you get punished a lot when you're playing like this, or against certain weapons it works, against others it doesn't. Then you can tone it a bit down, you know, just then. Like if you play against Count, for example, you can't push as aggro, especially when you don't have map control, because he will just shark you somewhere here, right? I think that's like about the main concepts of Bamboo. It's a very mechanics dependent weapon, so you have to just play the game a lot, try out with your aim. And I would recommend you to play Stealth Jump and like a lot of movement abilities. Opening Gambit if you feel extra spicy, that's what I do. And just experiment with the weapon. Like just remember your greatest strength is your movement, your spacing ability, and that you shouldn't necessarily play it as a backline, but rather as a midline. That can change its role. So you always have to, and it's kind of something you learn from playing the game, especially in competitive. There are times in the game where you're gonna have to be like the front line, which is when you have like maybe, I don't know, an X rank, you get like a lot of pain support players on your team, or like players that are more passive, and you get to know that like in the first minutes of the first game. So you have to kind of try to be more finisher that gets a lot of kills, so you have to play a bit more aggressive, right? You can play the aggressive role, the aggressor, I guess, slayer, however you want to call it. But then there are times where you have to play more like as a midline. If you have, for example, an S plus who's fully aggroing at front, or like a slosher, and you just kind of want to like stand a bit behind them, you know, just play a bit with them. Like if they are, for example, up here, right, just like straight up fighting the people in the face, you can play like from here and just try to finish off fights or get chip damage for them. Especially as a beginner, you can just fizzy this, right? Fizzing is always a good idea. It pains, it gives chip damage. it's a great sub weapon. Like this kit is, especially for beginners, it's the easier one to master. So you should play the Fizzy kit first, and yeah, from there on you can learn. You can try different stuff out, different peaks, different spacing, different positioning. Midliney is what I just explained to you, where you play like a bit behind, and then there's also times where like, okay, you have a Zap that's playing fairly aggressive, and then you have like two aggros or like one paint support that's playing a bit too aggressive, and then like two Slayers or whatever, right? And they are like really up front in the face, and then you can just like play a bit more as a mobile beacon, right? So your teammates can jump to you, you can try to paint support, you just focus on catching the flanks, and I think that's how most people play this weapon. But I think you should not only learn how to play this way, right? There are times when you certainly need to play like this, but you have to kind of learn how to switch between the different roles. So to play Bamboo, I would say at like a high or top level, you really need to focus on just switching between every single role in the game. So you have to learn every role kinda, and it's gonna make you really good at the game. And if you want to transfer that to another weapon later on, that's fine as well. If you have no honor, but do whatever you want, man. And yeah, have fun with the game. The community is kind of dead, so I'm at least trying to make like some bit of content. And if you appreciate that, you know, leave a like, whatever, comments. It's not super professional, and it's editing, whatever. It's not an existent, right? I just record this in OBS while being in the practice room. But I just like yapping about the game, and if you enjoyed listening to this, I would greatly appreciate your support. Follow me on Twitter. I will like announce whatever I'm doing there, or like beef with random people if you like that. And yeah, have a good day. Have a good day, man. See ya.